Here's something I'd like to share. Back in the day, when I used to travel around going in and out of private practice offices throughout the country, and I've been in and out of about 600 plus offices now in every state in the United States except for 3 at the moment. I used to say to owners, and maybe I shouldn't have said this, maybe if I could go back and have a do-over, I would probably not say this because it might make people feel bad, and that wasn't my intent. But I used to say, getting more new patients is as easy as turning a faucet on or off. Getting your patient volume to go up and increasing your patient visits per week, per month, per year is something that you should naturally do on a scale of 15 to 20% growth per year. And anything less than that, to me, is a failure in practice management. And I used to make those bold statements, not because I was trying to hurt anybody's feelings or drive anybody down in any way, shape, or form, but just to set like a benchmark of expectations. And so my message to you is, if in fact we're going to be successful in holding true to those kinds of statements, then we need to look at the issues, as you know, I don't see things as problems. Problem to me is some external force that's holding you back from doing what you want to do. The government can be a problem, right? Overtaxing, which is basically, in my opinion, just stealing at this point. But something like that, something that's suppressing you, holding you down, preventing you from your forward momentum, your forward movement. The things that you have to do, that you have to overcome, hurdles you have to hop over, things you have to circumvent are challenges, right? I need more staff. I need higher trained staff. I need a better marketing program. I need a better working front desk. Those are challenges. The more you can think critically about how to leverage innovation and technology, resources, whether those be outsourcing resources or coaching resources or educational resources, those are all resources. Human capital coming in to take something off your plate to enable you to do better what you do best, right? If you focus on that, you're going to succeed much faster, much quicker, and more effortlessly than your competitors, for sure. And number 3, operating with ethics, morals, integrity that align with your mission, purpose, and policies. They all have to be in alignment. So this week's podcast is, and I hate I'm going to give you the 5 secrets to this, but I want to give you and share with you at least 7 or so, 5, 6, 7 or so tips or tricks or successful actions, if you will, that I have seen employed throughout the country that greatly improve the percentage of kept appointments. This podcast and each and every episode, I want you to walk away with something you can do and something you can think with. Personal growth ideas that enable you to be more yourself and be a better person today than you were yesterday, and certain tools, strategies, operational policies, action steps, strategic actions that you could literally put into play. Now, I have a whole academy, and we have a much greater complement of those services that will enable you to do things at a much greater level for both you as the executive level, your middle management level, and all the way down to your staff level. But I would like to pull from that and help you walk away with some of these successful actions right now. So let's get started. Let's get into that. And if you like this information, please, by all means, hit the like button and subscribe and be a follower, because I'm going to keep doing this mode of exchange with you where I'm going to help you in the best way that I know how from the 30 years of experience I have in running private practice clinics and helping private practice owners as a coach succeed in living the life you've always envisioned for yourself. So, number 1, patient compliance can be an issue, and it can be an issue for a lot of people. It shouldn't be an issue, though. It is very solvable. It is very much something within your control. This is not a problem. This isn't some external force. This is something you have control over. This is something you can do something about. So I'm going to share with you some successful actions so that you can have an impact on your patient compliance. What is the benchmark target you should be striving for with patient compliance? In my experience, I would like you to think about this. How do you feel about if your office was always 92% kept appointments? You rolled in there on Monday, you looked at all the people in the schedule book, you've got 100 people, just for round numbers, you've got 100 people scheduled, and over 92 of that 100 scheduled actually show up. That's a well-run office. But it's not because of any one thing. It's because there's a complement of elements that create the culture and the message that you want to portray, that you want to communicate on an ongoing day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, regular basis. Tips for professional success number 1, or maybe this is a personal growth idea, so let's just consider this a PGI. Personal growth idea. Be consistent. Be consistent in your messaging, be consistent in your purpose, be consistent in your values. Make sure that every action you take within your practice isn't a one-off thing, that you're doing it each and every week, each and every month on a regular basis. Be consistent. So, number 1, being consistent would mean write it into policy. So let's have a policy for cancellation no-shows. If somebody's not notifying you within 24 hours, there's a fee for that. Think about what that fee should be for you depending on where you are in the country. Most often I see something between $30 and $50. Some parts of the country are $50, some parts of the country are $30. Anything less than $30 is not really a steep enough bar, I think, to encourage compliance. I used to have patients literally show up and be like, hey, I can't make my appointment this afternoon. I'm just going to pay my fee right now and I got to get back to work. They would literally drive into my office, go to the front desk, pay their fee, go back to work, and then, reschedule their appointment. What's important about the cancellation no-show fee is that you're not interested in the money. You're solely interested in holding in compliance so that you can better help your patients, and making sure that that's your message and that's your communicated culture. That's going to make all the difference in the world. People can't see this as a punitive thing. Cancellation no-show policies are not meant to be punitive. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you want to do this. I don't know if this works for you in your state and HR for you, but for me, what I used to always do is I never kept the money from the cancellation no-show fees. They would go in the petty cash box, and then I would use it in the monthly staff meetings to buy pizza or Starbucks or, whatever we were doing in that monthly meeting to provide food or drinks for my staff. It was never something I was interested in profiting off of. And I would tell my patients, I don't keep the cancellation no-show money. It doesn't go into, running our business per se. It literally goes back into sharing with the staff for, collaborative meetings and monthly staff meetings and so on and so forth. So we really kept that message that we don't want the money, we want the compliance. And that's got to be what's felt by the patient. So personal growth idea number 1. Number 2, policy, like I said, tip for professional success. Let's go with that one. Let's call that number 1. I'm going to mess up my numbers here. I always do. But number 1, policy. Cancellation no-show policy with the fee. Put it on colored paper, put it in a nice frame, put it at your waiting room front desk. Make sure that everybody sees it. Also make sure that they sign the policy when they come in for their evaluation. It's part of your new patient paperwork, and they take it home with them. There's no way a patient should say, I didn't know that this was a requirement. I didn't know this was something you were going to hold me accountable to. Not okay. Make sure that's well known to them and it's well posted in your waiting room. Number 1. Number 2, tip for professional success. Train your front desk to confirm next day's appointment or next appointment with your patient on their way out of the office. So if Sally's walking out, hey, Mrs. Jones, Sally Jones, let's just say, hey, Mrs. Jones, it's so good to see you today. I have you down for Wednesday at 4, so we'll see you this coming Wednesday at 4. Okay, and so she knows that it's important to you, that you're mentioning it to her, that you have her in the schedule. You're looking forward to seeing her. Make sure your front desk is trained to have that personal communication, that outreach of interest in the patient as a patient to maintain their compliance level. So that's super important. That makes a big difference when you do that. Using technology is also another way. Have your EMR system confirm next day's appointments. That would be number 3. You should have some system, some automated system that's confirming all your next day appointments. If you don't have it automated, then a tech or an assistant or somebody administratively has to call all the patients, leave a text message or email, whatever they say in their consent forms as to how they want to be communicated with. Go ahead and follow along with that. Great patient engagement is another one. This would be number 4. Increasing your patient engagement makes them feel more a part of your practice, makes them feel more part of your family. When I run a family private practice, I want my patients to feel like we are embedded in the community for the best interests of the community, for the best interests of them individually and those within our zip code collectively. This is not about us treating a shoulder or a knee. This is about us helping you, Mr. or Mrs. Patient, achieve optimum health. Because if you achieve optimum health, then you could be a soccer coach or a lacrosse coach, or you can do more charity work, or you can participate in the Arbor Day events or whatever charitable events you have going on in your community. People are feeling better. They're doing more. If they're doing more, they're contributing more to the wellness of their community. You want to be a forward momentum in that. You want to be a thrust in that direction. So make sure that you have more engagement with your patients so you're getting to know them. And the way I would do that is I would make it a game. Gamification is everything. You can have holiday games that the patients participate in. You can have random games that you play at your front desk. They have to guess the number of this, or who wrote this poem, or who's made this quote, or whatever. One of the games that I really like is with my staff and my patients, where I would have my clinicians, especially my clinicians, if not other staff members, I would say you owe it to the patient to be more interested than interesting. And what do I mean by that? I mean, I want my therapist to take great care in learning 5 personal things about every patient they're treating. Where do they work? Where do they live? What do they drive? Do they have kids? Are they married? What church do they go to? What do they coach soccer? What's going on with them? I mean, don't get interpersonal. I don't care to know their social security number or their DNA. That's not it. But caring enough that ask and dialogue, what's their favorite football team, or what's their favorite baseball team, or whatever's going on? What do they enjoy to do as hobbies? Get to know your patients as a person, not as a knee, a hip, or a shoulder, but literally as a person, and make this policy. You should be able to walk around your clinic at any point in time, tap a therapist or a tech or a PTA, doesn't matter, on the shoulder, say, who's the patient over there? And oh, that's Ron Hudler. Oh, great. Give me 5 on Ron. Well, Ron's married. He's got 3 kids. He coaches lacrosse. He goes to the Baptist church, and he likes to, make model airplanes, whatever. Great. That's a pass. If my staff is putting forth the effort to engage the patient to that level, there's a high probability that that patient's feeling a part of this team. They're feeling a part of this practice's community and culture. That's what you want as a practice owner. You want people who come to work and they're not exchanging time for money, but they're playing the game of life with the people that they're treating. They're participating in the wellness and the well-being of those that are honoring them or blessing them with the opportunity to treat them. Look, that patient's got choices. That patient can go to 12 other clinics within 2 miles of here, most likely, depending on where you're practicing, right? But they chose here. Why? Because your culture is warm and inviting and it's engaging. The Give Me 5 drill is a huge part of that. That's one of our high-level executive successful actions that I'm sharing with you right here and now. Schedule out their entire plan of care. I can't say that enough. Do not let the patients dictate the schedule. You want to have a front desk coordinator who can ask the question appropriately of the patient when they're walking up to the desk when the eval is over. The eval is over, patient walks up, it's time to schedule out their plan of care. And you say, so, Sally, what days and times don't work for you? You don't ask when you want to come in. You ask what days and times don't work for you, because then everything else is open season. The patient has less barriers to you scheduling on the open blocks of time. Number 5 is scheduling out that entire plan of care. Right on its heels, number 6, schedule the patient out between 2 therapists. You do not lose intercare reliability. You do not have an inconsistency. If anything, you have the collaboration of 2 bright people collaborating in the best interest of this patient. The patient has 2 schedules to choose from. Chances are they're going to be able to get better days and times that work for them so they can be more compliant. Chances are, if a therapist were to go on vacation, your schedule is not going to tank. The patient knows another therapist. They can schedule up. And see that other therapist. And you are going to have greater staff compliance, greater patient compliance when there's people out of the office. But you need another policy on the heels of that. Number 7, you need another tip for professional success. And this is a policy that is, one of those things you need to embrace if you're going to do it. And it's the culture of every single therapist who signs on with you signs on with the agreement that when a full-time therapist goes on vacation, the remaining therapists in the office increase their schedule that week 5 hours. It's not an ask, it's not a favor, it's not a concession, it's a policy. It's literally part of the position that you've accepted. You will increase 5 hours on any given week that another full-time therapist is out on vacation. If we all increase 5 hours, chances are we can, recoup, if not 75%, maybe more, of that therapist's schedule, because those patients are being seen between 2 therapists, number 1, and number 2, we've got more available time. So make that policy. I do have one other really successful action, and that is the Hall of Fame, the Wall of Fame. Putting it out there in the very beginning, out in your waiting room, that patient success is what this is about. It's not about the appointments. It's not about the profit. It's not about the revenue. It's about this Wall of Fame. Look at the photo of the patient who first came in. Look at the photo of the patient running, jogging, water skiing on their way out. And look at the success story that's sitting in the middle. And put that all in a frame. I've seen this in offices with appropriate consents and appropriate, authorizations, and other patients can't wait to read about those successes. And it makes them feel good about selecting your clinic as their clinic of choice. It's not unlike going to a restaurant or a diner, and when you're waiting to be seated, all of their awards, best diner in, New Jersey, 2023, or best, desserts for 5 years running. These awards, this Wall of Fame is a validation to me, the consumer, that I made the right choice coming here. And that you took the time to put that together and frame that and graph it and type that up and post that for me to see says a lot. Says that you're very proud of your practice. You're very proud of what you've accomplished. So to me, it's about creating that culture, creating that environment, engaging the patients at a higher level that goes in parallel with my mission, purpose, and policies. So I hope you can take some of these tips and tricks. I guess you can call them that. I like to call them successful actions. Maybe take some of these successful actions. Hopefully they work for you and you can embed them in your practice, in your company culture, and you'll get the results that I've seen so many other practice owners get. And you can literally have that ease of mind knowing you're going to grow 15 to 20% year after year. 2025 is around the corner, and I want nothing more than to have you live the life of a practice owner that you deserve for yourself. And it's done by building the right culture. So thank you so much for listening to me and attending this podcast. And I look forward to talking to you again next week and giving you more personal growth ideas and tips and tricks and tips for professional success so that you can run the ideal private practice for you.